Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the ajsTV channel. We're doing a season review of Aston Villa. Have we had a good season? Have we had a not so good season? It's definitely under debate. When you finish mid-table, it's very easy, very easy to have positive opinions as well as negative ones. I'm going to go over what I think went well this season and what I think didn't go well this season. Talk about the positives first. We had one of the best defences in the Premier League. I'm just seeing right now we only conceded 46 goals in the Premier League this season. And if you compare that to other teams, that's only 2 more than what Man United conceded. And they finished second. We had Emi Martinez, who was our player of the season as voted by the supporters. I think he had the 3rd most clean sheets in the Premier League, only behind Ederson and Mendy of Chelsea. So to be compared with those type of names and the clubs, Manchester City won the league. Ederson also got most clean sheets last season as well as this season. To be put alongside those type of names, I think says a lot about Emi Martinez and about how good we are defensively. Matt Targett, probably one of the most improved players this season. He was the Players' Player of the season, and I think thoroughly deserved. He's had a very good season. I remember there was a point where I wanted him to possibly go elsewhere. I didn't think he suited Villa. I didn't think he was even one of the best fullbacks at Villa last season, and I just think he's improved so much, so much under Dean Smith, and he's one of the best, I think, defenders this season. Luke Shaw obviously gets all the praise for the best left back in the league and thoroughly deserved because he's had a great season at United. But Matt Targett gone under a bit of the radar, really. I think he's done a very good job at Villa so far. Ezri Konsa as well, another nominee for Player of the Season at Villa, another amazing player who somehow hasn't been called up by England. Ben Godfrey has finally got in. He's had a great season at Everton. He's finally got the recognition. But you got players like Ezri Konsa who hasn't been rewarded as of yet. But hopefully in the future, just like Grealish, Watkins, Tyrone Mings, eventually their skill, their quality will be seen by Southgate and he'll get into the England setup. Another positive of Villa, we did beat a lot of big teams. We beat Arsenal twice. And not many teams we've done the double over this season, unfortunately. It's one of the negatives. We did beat Arsenal twice. We went away at Tottenham and won. Beat Chelsea at home. Everyone knows the Liverpool win where we beat them 7-2 at home. We beat Leicester City away very early on in the season. But we've had a lot of good results against a lot of the bigger teams. We're not, just here to make up the numbers. I remember saying that a lot when we first got promoted, and I don't think our first season in the Premier League wasn't great, and maybe you could make the argument that we were, kind of just there to make up the numbers. We barely spent any time outside the relegation zone, but this season, not been the case. I think we've definitely looked towards the top of the league than the bottom. I don't think there's ever been a week where I've been worried about relegation. We won our first 4 games this season, don't forget. So we've had a very good season. I think we've had a very good season. I just think it's the hope that kills you, because there was a lot of this season I felt that possibly we could push into Europe. There was times where we were even in the top 4, top 7, where you just feel like if we won just a few more games. We only ended up finishing 7 points behind Spurs, and we lost a lot of games this season. We lost 15 games, and we only finished 7 points behind Tottenham. So we weren't really all that far away. But different things happened throughout the season. I'm going to go and talk about them as well later on in this video. One of the big negatives this season, Grealish getting injured. He's a big player for us, as well as a load of people know. Just like Bruno Fernandes, a great player for United and their best player. Some teams do have that one player that they rely on the most, and Villa have Grealish. And when we didn't have Grealish, we were poor. We won very few games. We beat Leeds United away, but the wins were few and far between. We beat Everton away as well, but there was like 2 out of 10 or 11 games. Not good enough. We really shown that we struggled without him. Some games we adapted well without him, but I'd say the majority of the time we were outplayed and didn't really have a plan B. And when Grealish came back into the team, he started against Spurs and he started against Chelsea. The final 2 games of the season, we beat them both. What does that say? That just shows to me how much how much of a big player he is for us. People like to talk about injuries, and because the club made a complete mess of the whole injury problem. They didn't really talk about it much when it first happened. Then he came back into training and just have another setback, and the club barely talked about that as well. It has been a complete mess. I'm glad that it's all over and done with now. I'm glad we can move on because it has been a bit awful. And well, our slip down the table kind of coincides with that. And no Villa fan can sit here and say we're a better team or just as good as a team without Grealish, because it's not true. You take Emi Martinez out of this team, I think we'd struggle. You take Ollie Watkins out of the team, I think we would struggle. You took Ollie Watkins out for the Everton game at home, we were toothless. Absolutely toothless. We've got individual players who, they make up the Villa team. And you take out those key individuals and we would struggle. We do rely on certain individuals to help carry us through certain games. And just like Grealish is so big for us, so is Watkins, so is Konza, so is Martinez. I don't want to rely on those type of players. I want us to be able to have enough depth at the Villa team to account for injuries and suspensions, and we can still pull out results without having to rely on players like Grealish, because the depth at Villa just isn't good enough, and we've seen it over and over again. I was asked a lot at the start of the season by a lot of different supporters when I started doing these videos. I've only been doing Villa related content for about 6 months, and people came up to me, came into my comment sections on videos and kept asking me, where do I see Villa finishing? And I said to them then, you can go have a look at the videos, they're still up on the channel now. Anywhere between 8th and 12th, I think, is a very good season, and I stand by that. And we finished 11th. Now, admittedly, it's on the lower side between 8 and 12, but it's still a good season. There's a 10-point gap between us and 12th. I think if you want to make up little divisions between teams in the Premier League, obviously Man City finished way above United, so they were on their own. United as well had a bit of a gap between them and third. It kind of closed itself with United only winning one of their last 4 games. But even they were separate away from the rest of the pack. Then there's loads of teams on minimal amount of points difference. Liverpool, Chelsea, Leicester, West Ham. And Villa just seemed to drop away from that a little bit when Grealish got injured. We were amongst all that. We were competing with teams like Tottenham and Arsenal. They were around us at one point. But as they won more games, we kind of won one here, lost another, drew a couple, then got maybe like a 1 win in 5 type of situation when you've got Arsenal who won their last 5 games in a row. And when your form isn't great, you will get overtaken by teams who have amazing form. And it's what happened. Teams like Leeds overtook us, Arsenal, Tottenham, all overtook us. West Ham, I think we'd been behind West Ham for a while, but we never really closed the gap. Even Chelsea, before Tuchel came in charge, we were competing with Chelsea. We went above them several times. We've always had games in hand this season because we started off, I think everyone played a couple games we hadn't even played, because our Man City game was supposed to be the first game of the season. It got called off because of the European game that they had. I can't remember what it was. We were always competing, and then as soon as Grealish, I keep going back to Grealish because it was such a big part of our season. Him getting injured, it just fizzled out. I said the words fizzled out so much this season because it just did. It just completely fizzled out. You wonder what might have been, but I'd rather be positive. I'd rather mention the good than the bad. The signings have been great. Every player I think we've brought in has done well. Even players like Traore, who is a bit inconsistent, it's still a good goal scoring season. Even scored on the final day of the season. So even the lower end of the players that have been brought in have still had a good season. I think the recruitment has been good. I know we've spent a fair bit of money in the last couple of years, but there's progression. There is progression at Villa, and that is something I need to keep stressing to other Villa fans. Next season, I think, is very big for Villa. We need to keep players like Grealish. We need to bring in players like Buendia, maybe Ivan Toney, Tammy Abraham. We need to strengthen this team and build it around Grealish. We cannot afford to let Grealish go. If we let Grealish go, we might as well kiss goodbye to any chances of the Europa League or any form of European push. We kiss it goodbye, because we can only get there if we have players around Jack Grealish, and it is that simple, unfortunately. And I accept that, and I think Villa have to accept that. Villa fans have to accept that. That if we are going to do it, and if we are going to become a big giant in English football again, then we're going to have to keep players like this, and we can't be, we We can't be a stepping stone for, you know, a lot of good players. They need to look at us as a big club. We are a big club, and they need to look at us as a big club and want to build and become like a Leicester. I want Villa to do a Leicester so bad. I want us to really copy what they've done. I know they bottled the Champions League, but they won the FA Cup. They won the league only a few years ago. They are stepping it in the right direction. They are kicking Tottenham out of this Big Six, right? They have infiltrated it, and I think Leicester are a big team now. I do. Maybe some of you lot don't think so, but I do consider Leicester City a Big Six team now. And if people don't think that, I'd like to hear an argument as why. Because they've won more Premier Leagues recently than teams like Tottenham, Arsenal. Like, you can't turn around and say that they've not been successful. I just think they, you know, winning one of the last 5 in the Premier League isn't great. And they probably should have finished in the Champions League. I think they had more days in Champions League places than any team this season. Which obviously, to have that and not finish in the top 4, that's not really good enough, but they are still making progression, and it's still where it's where I want Aston Villa to be. So yeah, if I was to give Villa a grade, I'll give us a B minus. I'll give us a B minus. I wonder what could have been. I wonder what it could have been for Villa if Grealish remained fit, if we had kept a bit more consistency, if we kept the form going that we had at the start of the season. I wonder if we could be where West Ham are right now. But who knows? Who knows? Football is a funny old game, and we haven't done it this year. We could do it next year. It all relies on the players we need to bring in. We need depth really badly. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think I'm completely wrong? Do you think we've had an amazing season? Do you think it's been an awful season? Who do you think Villa should sign to try and improve themselves? And where do you think Villa will finish next season? Very, very soon I'm going to do a player ratings video of Aston Villa players. I did one a while ago, but I wanted to kind of refresh it just a little bit and give a full season review of those players. Because at the time, you know, some of them didn't really get much game time. So I think it's fair. You know, we've had the full season now. I can finally give my opinion on those type of players. So that'll be on the channel soon. I am going to do the Champions League final. It may already be uploaded. I'm not sure when I'm going to publish this video. And with the summer, I'm going to do the Euros. I'm going to do FIFA videos. I'm going to keep this channel busy. It's not going to be completely empty until the next season. Trust me, you will definitely see this face a lot in the coming months. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to check me out in the next one.